Well, good evening. I want to welcome everybody to Family Promise of the Verdugos Money Matters Personal Finance Workshop Series. I'm glad that everybody who is on the Zoom call this evening can be here after what has probably been a busy week. We just turned the corner here into September. And somebody said to me the other day, can you believe it? We only have 4 months left to the end of the year. And I thought, oh my gosh, where has 2021 gone? It's been such a busy year with so many different changes, all of us adjusting to COVID and the pandemic. And now here we are, September, and kids are back in school full swing. And there's just so much that's going on and happening. And here we are looking down at the end of this year with only 4 months left. I hope everybody has been doing well. Just for the sake of this call, if you can make sure that your audio in the Zoom workshop is on mute, that way we don't pick up on any sort of background noise, dogs in the back, babies, whatever. If you have questions, feel free along the way to unmute yourself and ask a question. Feel free to interrupt me or even put the question in the chat, and Lisa will sort of be on the lookout for that. And if you don't want to interrupt me, she certainly can as well. So be sure to put your questions in the chat or just unmute yourself. So this evening, I thought with 4 months left in the year, now would be a good time to sort of think about, in my personal financial situation, in my finances, where can I save some money? What could I be doing here before the end of the year, and definitely before the holidays come around the corner, before we start getting into the holiday months, and with Christmas shopping ahead of us? How can I save some money? Whether it's just for myself, whether I could just get a little bit of breathing room and wiggle room in my budget. Maybe I can take care of some debts. Maybe I can have some wiggle room with some bills, or maybe I can just save for some holiday gifts for family, for friends. Where can I cut some expenses in my budget? What should I be looking out for? And I sort of want to talk about this tonight as a reminder to us that when we get so busy and when we get so consumed by work and life and so on, we're just trying to make it through every day, right? And when it comes to cutting expenses, a lot of people are sort of reluctant, and they say, look, I don't have time for that. Everything's sort of working as it is. It's maybe not best situation. Maybe it's not optimal. It's probably not the best I could be doing, but change is so hard. I just don't have the time. Or maybe I really can't cut anything else out of my expenses. We become used to living a certain way, right? And the idea of making those changes and maybe forcing ourselves to cut back on things that we consider to be just maybe normal or sort of essential, it's really hard. It's really, really difficult. So what I wanted to do tonight is maybe just as a reminder, sort of go over the ways in which we can find some extra dollars in our budget. We can cut some expenses here or there because maybe we just haven't changed things up for a while, whether it's our own spending habits, our own saving habits, whether it's things that we're paying for that maybe we just no longer need to use. So let's walk through this together. One of the things that is a good reminder is, are you tracking your spending habits? Right? We know where sort of in general we spend our money. We know what our bills are, and then we sort of know whether we're eating out or we're grabbing coffee or we're getting the monthly hair color and haircut or our nails done or whatever. We know sort of where we're spending our money. But now, right before the end of the year, it's a good time to determine, again, let me just double check. Let me just go back over my budget, my spending plan, and let me just determine where my money is going. So I want to offer this challenge to you to maybe perhaps before the holiday season kicks into gear, that you track just for 30 days. Just track here. Here we are. It's the second day of September. Maybe it's just the month of December. For the 30 days, you track your spending habits, right? And really what I'm getting at is we sort of know what our fixed bills are. We know our rent. We know our utilities. We know our cell phone bill, these sorts of things. What I'm really wanting you to pay particular attention to and really track is, where are those other dollars going to? Is it the Kindle books that you're buying on Amazon? Is it the morning egg McMuffin habit maybe that you have on the way to work? Like, figure out where are those dollars sort of routinely leaking out of my wallet, out of my bank account during the month. Track that for 30 days. So whether you keep notes in your phone on an app, whether you get paper receipts, and at the end of every day, you sort of empty your pockets of your paper receipts and you look and you see, gosh, I did buy that breakfast meal at McDonald's. I did stop in at Taco Bell for lunch. I did grab that coffee on the way home. Like, add that up, track that, right? I think you're going to be surprised at how much you've spent on certain items. But this gives you a good chance to just sort of see where adjustments can be made in your spending habits going forward. So maybe in tracking, what you can begin to think about is, how can I start prepping myself for the new year, for 2022, right? So pay attention. That's really sort of what I'm saying here. Pay attention to everything, whether you're paying with cash, whether you're swiping a debit card, whether you're using Apple Pay, where are those dollars going? And maybe you just do it in an old fashioned, you just use Post-it notes and you just jot down where you're spending money. Go through and determine from there, based on how I've been spending over the next 30 days, where am I purchasing things? Is it for needs? Is it for what I want? What are my spending habits based on? Are these essentials, or do I find myself buying things that are solely based on just my wants and sort of spur of the moment, sort of random haphazard decisions, right? Where can I actually save money by changing my spending habits, by changing my choices and my decisions? If you don't have a budget, that would be the second step. After you track your spending and you see where your money is going out, perhaps you need to come back to getting on a budget. And I harp on this all year long. Make sure you have a budget, make sure you have a spending plan, whether you're checking it weekly or monthly, or I don't know, maybe even just looking at it every 3 months, every quarter. Do you have that tool in place, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Create just a simple plan of, what are my fixed expenses? What are my variable expenses? The things that change from month to month. How much money am I bringing in? Where is my money going? And then the objective is to set up small goals for yourself, right? After you monitor and adjust your overall spending, right? Set a simple goal. Okay. I just want to maybe pay down some debt. I'm not talking about eliminate your debt, but I just want to make some additional payments. Maybe it's a credit card payment. Maybe by the end of the month, I want to pay just a little bit more on that credit card. Maybe I just want to pay a little bit more on that car payment. Or look at, where can I cut some expenses? What am I paying too much for? And we'll come to this more specifically in a little bit. But maybe where can I save $10, $15, $25 here or there? Because I'm still paying for things that are just wants and not really needs anymore. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a massive spreadsheet. It could just be simple pad of paper and a pencil, right? Pencil out. What am I making in income? What's coming in? What are my fixed monthly expenses, my bills? And then what are my needs in terms of food and gas and medical expenses and so on? It doesn't have to be super detailed, right? Make a savings goal for yourself. Maybe that's one of your small goals. In September, my goal is just simply to save an extra $25, an extra $50, whatever that amount is, right? See what money is left over. Go back, see where you're spending during the month. This is all part of just knowing sort of where you are in that sort of space and time of finances and of money. Then start taking a look at, once you have tracked your spending for 30 days, once you have a budget, then start evaluating your subscriptions. So what I mean by this is, in your monthly expenses, in your spending, what are you subscribing to? What are you paying for? Whether it's your cable TV. Am I paying too much for that? Do I even watch the hundreds of channels that I'm paying for? Do I even use it to its fullest? Maybe there's a cheaper plan that you can downgrade to, save yourself some money. Maybe you've had the same cable TV service for a long time and you've just sort of kept it as it is because you just didn't get around to changing it. You were too lazy, or you didn't want to research it, or you just didn't pull the trigger. And maybe there's a cheaper option. Maybe there's a more affordable, maybe better option that suits your needs, right? And then some people will cut out cable TV to save money, but then they'll just subscribe to a bunch of other streaming services. So they went from cable TV to then going, well, now I need Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, and it just adds up, and they end up paying exactly just as much as they were for cable TV. Well, maybe you need to evaluate your streaming services subscriptions and say, well, I really only sort of watch and just gravitate towards Netflix and Disney Plus. All these other things that I'm paying for, maybe I could drop those, right? Maybe you started something initially that was free. Maybe you started something that was at a lower monthly cost, and now time has passed and you got that free trial period, and now it's bumped up and now you're paying more, or you're paying for the subscription. Maybe you need to go back and say, okay, it was cool when it was free, but now that I'm paying for it, am I really utilizing it? Am I really using it? Think through your internet. Maybe you're paying too much for your internet. Maybe it's time to change internet providers. Obviously, that's sort of based on where you live and what companies serve your area. But I know, and I've shared with this before in some of our workshops, I was guilty of that for years, where I stuck with AT&T because it was all set up. The internet speed was terrible, right? I was paying for things I didn't need, a landline, cable TV plus internet, and I got what I thought was a bundle deal, right? But I was honestly paying $250 a month. Didn't use the landline, right? Never made a phone call out of that landline. Anything that came into that landline went to a voicemail. Never replied to any of those voicemails. So that was a waste, right? Internet speed was terrible. My family complained about it all the time. I just didn't want to go through the process of changing. But then once I did, I saved a ton of money. And my internet speeds were through the roof, were amazing. I should have made that change long time ago, but I, just like any other human being, I'm sort of stuck in my ways. So I speak from experience in that you can definitely save money on a lot of these subscriptions, and going back and reevaluating, maybe I need to change things up. Maybe it's your cell phone plan. And I know some of us are under contracts and things like that. But if you're at that point where making a transition might be possible for you and a good idea, maybe doing a little shopping, sort of comparison shopping, and seeing what other plans are out there. Where can I, if I end up having to pay the same amount of money, where can I get more for my dollar, right? Publications that you subscribe to. It could even be, are you still getting magazines? Are you still getting other things, maybe online, right? Are you even reading that stuff anymore? Are you even utilizing the services? Paying for Spotify and you don't even really have time to listen to music. And well, you just keep paying for it though. Maybe it's not serving a purpose for you. Weight loss program that you continue to pay into month after month after month after month, and you're really not utilizing it. Maybe you don't have to go to the gym. Maybe you could just cancel that subscription and just work out outside, do your own personal workout at home. Maybe you take walks with a friend, maybe you run, whatever. What are the alternatives is basically what I'm saying. So ask yourself these 3 questions. Do I use it? Do I need it? And can I live without it? Or basically, is there an alternative? I think you could find some other areas, and maybe you're not going to save hundreds or thousands of dollars by doing this, but $15 here, $20 there. Any kind of savings that we can find in evaluating our subscriptions is worth it. And we're just adding to our bottom line when we do that. Another thing that we could look for in our budget is reducing our premiums. Maybe you have auto insurance. Maybe you have renter's insurance. Maybe you have to purchase private medical insurance because you're self-employed. What are premiums that you could potentially shop around, do some comparison shopping between companies, and perhaps reduce what you're paying in your monthly premiums, right? So a lot of times we get on an auto insurance plan and we just sort of stick with it, right? Well, what if you did a little bit of shopping and found an insurance company like a State Farm or a Farmers Insurance or a AAA that can bundle maybe your auto insurance and your renter's insurance and get you a discount? So instead of purchasing them separately from different companies, you bundle them together under one company and you get a discount for that. Maybe you don't belong to AAA, and maybe by actually joining AAA, it's worth the money because you get towing, or if you're locked out of your car, you get those automotive services, and you get discounts on travel or hotels, and you get to do your DMV registration at AAA instead of having to go to the DMV. There's all these other services and benefits that could be worth making that change, paying for, and then saving in terms of you utilizing their insurance services. So auto insurance, renter's insurance, and so on. Sometimes if you have not been in an accident for a long time and you're a very safe driver, you have a short commute, or maybe you just don't even really drive your car that much. You're not using it to travel long distances, do regular daily commutes. You only sort of go out every so often. You may even think about raising your deductible. So going back to your insurance company and saying, look, right now, my deductible, if something were to happen, I were to get into an accident, something were to happen, my deductible is $500. Could I raise my deductible to $1,000 because I really don't drive that much? So I'm at less of a risk than those people who drive all the time. And by raising my deductible, will it lower my monthly insurance premium? That's a good question to ask of your insurance company. If you're not thinking, well, I've done my research, Brian, I'm with Geico, or I'm with, 21st Century. It's the lowest that I've ever seen. I don't think it could get any lower. Maybe one way to save some dollars is by raising your deductible. So that could be one thing to check out. This is a struggle for me. what if you eat at home? I love to eat out or take out because of the convenience. It's not necessarily that I need to go somewhere or pick up something. It's just the convenience of it. And I know for so many of us, that is the main driver. But what if we did a little bit more planning and we tried to eat at home or prep our meals for like work lunches at home by simply like getting into the habit of doing some weekly meal planning. We can save ourselves a lot of money from eating out, and we could probably end up also saving some dollars when it comes to grocery shopping if we did a bit of planning. If we mapped out our dinners Sunday through Sunday, right? And even if we prepped our lunches for the week, we use the weekend to maybe lay out, here's what I'm going to have Monday through Friday. I'm going to take my lunch. And I know this is hard. I know this is hard because there's so many obstacles. Because one, you got to do the prep. You got to buy all the stuff. You got to plan for the week. You got to separate it into containers. And then even when the day comes, you grab that container for Wednesday and you think, oh my gosh, Wednesday is salad or whatever you've decided. And you think, gosh, fast food would just be so much more convenient and easier. And I'm stressed and I would just rather like to have a simple pleasure like fast food or whatever. It's so easy to toss that salad, right? I know it's hard. I know it's hard. But in the end, if our goal is to slowly but surely make these small changes and that become habits, we can get into a place where even the choices we make about food and where we eat and what we're eating, and if we're at a restaurant or we're eating at home, that can save us money. That can definitely save us money. So if this is something that you've been meaning to try it for the month. See what happens. See how much money it could actually save you. Connected to that, like I was just mentioning, is shop with a list. I don't know about you, but I sort of go to the store with just things in mind, right? Of what we need in the fridge, what we need in the cabinet, right? And I just sort of walk the aisles and I just sort of say, oh, I think we need this and it would be good to have this and we need this. And then, but as I walk the aisles, I end up seeing things that I don't necessarily need, but I go, oh, but that would be so good. I've been sort of craving that, or this snack would be nice or whatever. And I start piling stuff in that I really hadn't intended to get when I went to the store. So just perusing the aisles is probably not the best sort of money saving thing to do. We see things that are on sale and we sort of buy in bulk. And then what happens? That stuff just sits or it rots in our fridge, right? We don't even eat it. We don't even touch it. We end up throwing it out. It's gone bad. We're throwing out money. We're wasting money. So shopping with a list forces us, again, to make specific decisions about what is it that I actually need to buy versus what I just want or what is on sale or what looks nice. What am I craving? And actually have a structured plan, right? So that can work in conjunction with your meal planning. Use a list, whether you put it on your phone, whether you write it out old school. That can actually keep you sort of disciplined in how you spend when it comes to groceries and food. Use digital coupons. So many different grocery stores have rewards programs where you have your phone number, you actually have a card, or they have an app where every purchase you make, when you put in your phone number, you scan your app or you swipe that card, you get rewards. And it can add up in savings. You can have digital coupons that are added to it. So you don't have to do it old school and clip coupons if you don't want to. You can sort of do things electronically, but take advantage of a lot of these rewards programs where if you buy 2 of something, you get a steeper discount. where they have special digital coupons with extra savings. So my grocery store rewards program, they also have gas. And so when I purchase through the rewards program, I save at the pump. So there have been times where I've saved 20, 30 cents a gallon on my gas. So I'm trying to like sort of streamline my shopping. And at the same time, I'm using the rewards program and I'm getting sort of money back when I go to the pump, and I'm saving at the gas station as well. Right. So there's a lot of benefits to that, and they're totally free. They're totally free. Yeah. Did somebody have a question?
I think somebody just got in and they're not muted. That's what happened.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Sorry.
One thing that we can do as well to help us save a little bit of money is to freeze your credit cards. So making sure that, okay, if we're trying to cut costs in one place, saving money on our budget and our expenses, like we've been talking about, making sure we don't grow our balance of debt in another place, and that's on credit cards. So think of it as literally freezing your credit card. And this actually, it used to be advised that literally somebody could physically freeze their credit cards and sort of keep it from being used by literally putting it in a tray of water and putting it in your freezer. I don't think you have to go to that extreme, but you can enact the same sort of practice, but without putting it literally in your freezer. You can call your credit card company and you could put a freeze on your card, which means that you're stopping authorization of any new charges. So you're sort of stopping yourself from yourself. So you're stopping yourself from spending on the card, so that while you're trying to save money elsewhere, you're not just growing your credit card debt over here, right? So that's sometimes the mistake that we make is we start getting on this saving spree, but yet we're still charging on our credit card and our debt continues to grow, right? So maybe what you want to try doing is, man, I know I have a bad habit of spending on my credit card. I'm maxed out. I need to sort of tone that down. Call your credit card company, ask them to put a freeze on all future charges, right? So what's going to happen is you can no longer use the card to buy anything until you take the freeze off, right? But you'll still have to make your regular routine monthly payments, okay? And interest is still going to be accruing on any unpaid balances, right? So just know that. All we're doing here is we're stopping future charges, so you don't keep building the balance. You're still going to have to make payments. Interest will still accrue on unpaid balances. And then when you see how you're doing with that, okay, I've got my sort of credit card use under control. I paid down some balances. I haven't added to the balance anymore, right? Then you can call your credit card company and say, okay, can you please remove the freeze, because now I'm ready to start managing and using it sort of more wisely, right? So it's just sort of putting a pause on your credit spending. That could be a way where you could also save money while simultaneously working to just pay down the debt instead of paying down and building it back up and trying to pay it down and building it back up even more. We've talked about this in the past. Another money saving tip is to try to use cash only. And I don't mean for everything. Okay, so I'm not saying pay your rent in cash, pay your utility bills in cash. No, I'm not talking about those fixed expenses. But in your sort of day-to-day purchases, whether you're out at the mall, whether you're going to be buying fast food lunch, buying coffee, whatever it is that you're going to be doing or spending on, maybe you reserve cash only for that kind of spending. That's really going to be an eye opener, because it's really going to show you where your spending issues are, because you're going to be physically transacting that cash, right? You're going to see that cash being depleted in your purse, in your wallet, right? Versus just swiping, and really not keeping track. Cash physically forces us to be accountable to what we have available to spend for these kinds of areas. So for example, maybe you say, I'm only going to use cash when I eat out, when I shop, or I buy clothes, do retail shopping, maybe even cash for groceries. Maybe you even use different envelopes for those different categories, but just use cash when you're out, and you'll see how quickly that cash is being spent versus maybe how you don't spend as much, and you'll get a feel for where is it really that my money is going. I had $50 in my wallet and I bought no clothes. I didn't buy any groceries, but now I'm down to like $10. So I must have spent that like eating out. It's really going to force you to see, where do your habits lie? Where are the things that you thought, well, like, I don't really spend that much money on coffee. Just buy your coffee with cash and see how long that cash lasts. Then you'll be able to determine, yeah, coffee was the culprit, right? I am addicted. Next time, end of the month, September, because it is back to school month. And I know a lot of your kids have gone back to school in August. One of the things that I want to talk about at the end of September is affording higher education. If you have kids that will ultimately go to college, whether they're in high school right now, whether they're in middle school, whether you even have young kids right now, and you're just thinking about, gosh, the time is going to come when I have to put them through college. How are they going to do that? Thursday, September 30th, 6 p.m., I want to talk about affording higher education and what you can be doing now as a part of your budget to prepare, whether your kids are in elementary, middle, or high school, or whether you're thinking about going back to school. Maybe you want to do a certificate program. Maybe you want to do an online course. Maybe you want to finish that bachelor's that you just didn't finish off. You know, you did an associate's and you were a couple of classes shy from getting the bachelor's or whatever. You're how you can plan and how you can afford higher education, how to strategize for that. So we'll be covering that not 2 weeks from now, but at the end of the month. In between now and the 30th, there's also going to be some other workshops that are going to be happening through Family Promise. And maybe Lisa, you could tell us about that.
Yeah. Okay, so first and foremost, I just wanted to thank everybody again for joining us. And I wanted to also congratulate the 4 lucky gift card winners for last month's opportunity drawing for the gift cards. So Arlene Romero, Michael Gavino, Sylvia Sanchez, and Gaudi Vasquez are the winners. And if you guys haven't stopped by to pick up your gift card, please do so. And let me know when you guys are planning to come on by. Next Thursday, September 9th at 6 p.m., Charlene Gosling, she's a health coach from Burbank. She'll be joining us and she'll be talking to us about how you can eat healthy on a budget. Yes, healthy food can be expensive, but there are ways that you can manage that. So just remember to RSVP next Thursday by 1 o'clock if you want to attend. And let me see my calendar for the following one. We have another workshop on September 16th, and it will be community. I'm sorry, it's CCHC. I believe it's Community Healthcare Clinic, something like that. They will be talking to us about what services they offer for the community as well, what health services they offer. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. And that's it. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Great. Thank you guys for being here. I would appreciate it. I'll see you guys at the end of the month.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.